Hey ESPN, I'm Jack.
And I'm Miles from the Daily Zeitgeist, a daily comedic news podcast that answers the question,
what if Stephen A. Smith spoke at a normal volume and his opinions were based on fact and not completely insane? This probably isn't the best way to describe this.
No, you just negated the two things Stephen A. Smith is known for.
Okay, what if The Daily Show was hosted by us?
Yes, but who is us?
Okay, I'm Jack. I'm the co-founder of Crack.com.
And I'm Miles. I love soccer and get very nervous when I'm pulled over by the police.
He's also a former lobbyist who quit politics for comedy.
Yeah. Well, look, we covered news, the president, pop culture, and we're both very big sports fans.
I'm actually named after my grandfather, legendary NBA coach and ESPN alum Dr. Jack Ramsey.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'm named after Miles Davis, the legendary heroin addict who is not my grandfather.
So search the Daily Zeitgeist. If you don't know how to spell zeitgeist, like most of us, just type in Daily Z. It'll figure it out for you. On Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever fine podcasts are given away for free.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood. Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, Duh?
I am David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
And we are Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio. What do we do?
We get to find individuals that's been supporting this program for almost 6 years. Exactly what they want.
How?
When they need it.
Great.
Effectively, efficiently, and accurately.
I believe we should start doing so right now, don't you?
Yes.
Excellent.
Shout out.
There was an article written by our colleague Tom Haberstroh, published on our company's website, ESPN.com. And basically, the sexy pull quote from this is that partying in the NBA for NBA players is like the mid-range jump shot. It has something that the game has evolved beyond.
Well said.
There's a lot of details about this and about reasons why and how it all works. But when we discussed this, you had a very interesting angle on it, Mr. Rose. What was that?
This is one of those perception versus reality things.
Tell me more.
As somebody who's been in the foxhole for a really long time,
Pun intended.
this is an accurate assessment, just like you said about the mid-range shot, is not used as much. But then you still got a guy like DeMar DeRozan almost averaging 30. Mm-hmm. And he
LaMarcus
doesn't shoot
Aldridge.
threes.
Sure.
Okay. And you didn't say that people didn't take mid-range shots because it wasn't a good look. You said they're now taking threes or layups because they wanted to be more efficient. Mm-hmm. And they're now going by the analytics. Mm-hmm. So let me give you some analytics.
I'm all ears.
Okay. You ever heard of this thing called social media?
Yes.
Okay. You ever heard of this thing called direct messaging?
Yes.
When somebody, and I'm not breaking any news here, follows you on Twitter, you can easily DM them.
Sure.
And usually people follow others that they likely are interested in. On Instagram, you don't have to be following each other to actually DM them.
Sure.
So the whole act of going out and introducing yourself to people, going to dinner, going to happy hour, going to more clubs, going to more social events, you can cut through that red tape by, hey, I'm in Atlanta tonight. What's going on, ATL? Before you know it, you probably have people DMing you. What's going on? Those same people that are following you are clearly paying attention to what? Your whereabouts and what you post.
One of the quotes that was most interesting from this article was from a former All-Star, again anonymous, of course.
I don't like anonymous quotes.
Quote, it's absolutely true that you get at least 2 hours more sleep getting laid on the road today versus 15 years ago. No schmoozing, no going out to the club, no having to get something to eat after the club, but before the hotel.
What he's saying is not a reflection of the player, it's a reflection of the person that you're dealing with. Because basically what he's saying is, I don't have to take you out to sleep with you nowadays. So that's not a reflection of the player saving 2 hours. It's the person that you're spending that time with isn't asking you to invest that 2 hours in them before they come back to your room.
I love the underlying theory that, like, as the NBA has shifted towards analytics to become efficient on the court, there's also analytics that help efficiency off the court as well. So 2 hours becomes 15, which becomes an hour and 45 minutes more sleep, which is improved performance for the road team.
But you can't tell me that players don't still go out to clubs because we see the horror stories when they happen. The positive thing I will say about my brethren is 98% of the time, you guys actually never find out. That's what makes it even more fun.
So that is the thing about this that you originally reacted with. You were basically like, NBA players are not partying less. We are just not finding out about it.
And here's another thing that has changed. So I just talked to you about the dynamics of social media. I just talked to you about the dynamics of somebody not asking you to invest that time, energy, and emotion in them before they come back to your room. The other level of this is money.
How so?
When you have access to bread and you can whip out a silver card, black card, any kind of card, now you ultimately have access to whatever you want, whenever you want it, and that makes things more efficient. You can Uber. You can you can get another room at a different hotel. You can get another room at your same hotel.
You can create the club in a hotel.
You create your atmosphere when you have your own bread, when you're making more.
Because a lot of this obviously goes back to the fact that everyone is holding a camera that can upload images, sound, videos to the internet at any given time, and that is a threat to an NBA player or any high-profile athlete enjoying themselves as they would like to in public. But they are still enjoying themselves as they would like to in private, is what you're saying.
When you have bread, I don't necessarily have to deal with the public. That's the cost to play. Now, however, I am still seeing footage of people when they go to certain cities. There are certain establishments, adult entertainment, and the adult entertainment industry isn't suffering.
Every Tuesday morning on TMZ, there is an athlete climbing up that back staircase outside of the strip club in Los Angeles on Monday night.
What about in Miami when you go play against the Heat? Where's everybody going?
King of Diamonds.
Or Live.
Oh, fair.
Okay.
Purple was in there too. There's a guy named Purple in Miami that escorts athletes all around into parties, and I believe that is Dale Levitar's nickname. I'm just throwing it out there. I believe that's Dale Levitar.
First off, here's rule number one. Don't allow someone to be responsible for your party favors, whatever that may be, including meeting other individuals that you don't even know. That dynamic that you just described, I hope that they know the individual that you're talking about and not necessarily paying that person for a service, because you know what's going to happen. That person eventually either gets caught up or writes a book or something like that, and all of that information becomes public.
There's one more thing I want to bring
But
your
I
attention
love this for my NBA family, that the media actually thinks that, oh, guys are frequenting strip clubs less? Is that what this is?
You're saying this whole thing is an okie doke, that this is all just the NBA machine saying, oh, we don't party anymore. Oh, we're so serious about our jobs and our public personas and our brands and our bodies that we don't drink alcohol anymore. Let me read you this part. According to researchers, after drinking, heart rates were up 16% higher after a night of drinking, and a measurement of the heartbeat interval variation was 23% lower. The effects are, quote, a change of similar magnitude to that of aging 12 years. My question for you. What? If drinking and then playing basketball ages you 12 years, how old are you?
I played 25 years then.
So you're probably 1,500 years old by now?
No, instead of playing 13 years, I played 25.
No, it ages you 12 every time you do it.
Oh, every time I do it. Oh, that means I played
You're 30,000 years
120 plus 13 years.
Yeah. Good for you.
But in all honesty, here's what has happened. As athletes' notoriety, their salaries, and what you have to lose has become more prevalent, you have to become more conscious, what makes you more disciplined and makes you smarter. So players are just moving more efficient. When the media finds out that a player's out champagning and campaigning, that's actually the player's fault. Because, again, 98% of people, when they move, guess how they move?
In silence.
And so I appreciate a puff piece about my brethren not having alcohol as much anymore. You know what is legal in about 30 states now?
Medicinal marijuana?
Absolutely. So you don't have to drink as much.
Here's another thing. I've been in sports media my entire career. And here's one thing I know. Do you know what quote you're not going to get? Oh, I drink after every game. It relaxes me. I love drinking. I drink every single day after every single game. It helps me play better. It helps my performance.
Well, here's also something that's evolved, Jacoby, how it's not just the players, it's society as a whole. I remember a time when you would walk into an NBA locker room post-game and there'd be more beers in the cooler than Gatorade. Mm-hmm. On the plane, players were allowed to drink more. And so now all of a sudden you realize the risk that you're putting everyone at, and you minimize that, and then you eliminate it.
Last question for you, Jalen. If you were in the NBA now, how would you behave differently than when you were in the NBA?
I would never go to a club. Never.
Why not?
Would never go to a club because of everything we just talked about. I would not. I would never go to a club if I played now.
What if
strip club? Night at the club. Mm-mm.
What if Purple got you the hookup though?
Not gonna be able to do
Not
it.
even for Perp?
No.
Perp got you in the underground tunnel to live?
Here's the thing. A picture's worth 1,000 words, but how much is a Snapchat worth? Or an Instagram video?
If it could take down your career, tens of millions of dollars. Jalen, by now everyone has seen it. Robin Lopez and Serge Ibaka get tangled up and punches are thrown. My question for you is, did Robin Lopez and Serge Ibaka really want it?
No. And again, I'm not here to promote fighting because when you're an athlete and you lose your cool during that athletic competition, that's called undisciplined. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to be the player that's like, oh, I was drafted in the 90s and we used to fight all the time. And it was only a technical foul.
Oh, we would go to the line and shoot too in my day.
But the rules were different.
Yeah, the whole game was different.
So now if you're doing that, you're a detriment to your team. You're getting technical fouls, which puts points on the board for the other team. You're now getting suspended for another game, which can cost your other team. You're getting fined an exorbitant amount of money. And here's what else you're doing. You're not intimidating the opponent. Nobody's going to fear Serge Ibaka because he took an elbow swing that turned into a punch against Mr. Lopez. It's not going to happen. Because when you're staring at somebody eye to eye, if you really want to punch them and they don't have their hands up to block it, you can.
You can.
And I know about pulling a punch. And both of those guys pull punches. And I'm happy with it.
Of course, it's fun.
I'm celebrating. I'm not acting like... I'm celebrating.
I think one thing that people don't respect is how difficult it is to land a punch on someone that knows you're trying to punch them. It's difficult.
Right.
Another thing I want to say. Should Serge Ibaka get a pass because Lopez threw the first punch? In a sense, like, if you try to punch me, do I then have the right to retaliate?
Absolutely. Here's what's going to happen.
What's going to happen, Mr. Rose?
For anybody that wants to truly know and you didn't see the altercation, all you have to do is lift your arm up right now in a bented position.
Okay, why are we doing this?
And then extend your fist. That's what they did. That's way different from an actual
no reach
cock
back.
and punch. It's way different. Trust me. I know the difference. And so what's going to happen with these two fine gentlemen who we appreciate their aggression? They got ejected from the game.
I love passion.
It wasn't a hold me back.
No.
Great. But they're going to get suspended one game. They're going to get fined $25,000 each. Mm-hmm. And they'll be back on the floor. And here's the difference. Again, I want to stress this. When they play their next game, the people that they're playing against will not be intimidated by them because they had a fight.
No.
Because the rules are different. Like back in the day when there was a tough guy and all of a sudden he can impose his will physically, he could continue to do so.
Who was someone that you did not want to play against for that reason?
Oakley.
It actually had an effect on the way that you approached the game because Charles Oakley was wearing the other uniform.
Well, not me.
Don't lie. Jalen, are you lying?
Jacoby, let me tell you something.
Please do.
How you grow up playing the sport really shapes your approach to playing the game. So I grew up playing in hostile environments where I better not foul this guy the wrong way because this dude might kill me.
Okay.
I better not say the wrong thing to this player because he can pick up a phone and call some guys up here to the court and come break my legs. So that's how I grew up playing the game. I was a trash talker. And you know the first thing I learned? Who not to talk to. That's the first thing you learn, who not to talk to. And so as I started to get better as a player, the people that I knew that took it personal when I would score on them or foul them or stuff, I can't even play with them no more. Because now it turns into that person can't beat me in ball. That person just want to fight me or be physical with me. So that's how I started to play the game. The audiences, however, change. Playing in the public school system, I'm playing in front of predominantly black crowds, playing against other black players. Fast forward to college, and by the way, in that dynamic I just said in high school is the exact same thing. Because you got to see these people at the neighborhood, the mall. You got to see these people. So you could be thumping your chest and pointing up at the sky. And I went to a school that beat people by 40 points frequently. But it wasn't much. You ain't doing too much front running because they'll tip over your bus. We wasn't taking showers after the game. We had to get out of there. Like, it was real for real. And so when I got to college, I'm like, this is easy. The crowd ain't going to do nothing. The opponent ain't going to do nothing. I'm like, we got a Nike contract. I'm like, we got a practice gym. Like, this is good. And so playing in the league, if you're going against a Charles Oakley, for example, who's my friend, who I eventually played with, there's a level of intimidation that he may have, but ultimately it wasn't what I was brought up around. It wasn't fatal. It was physical, which is way different. So if I go to the basket and William Cunningham clotheslines me in college, or Charles Oakley does it in the league, I just go to the line. They're not coming back for more. And so I had the Davis brothers. Hey, Dale, Antonio, I'm going to handle this. Hold me back. Y'all get that. Y'all really are able to fight. Like, I don't want to fight. If you ain't seen me recently, I got veneers. My skin's a little bit better.
It looks great.
You know, I ain't trying to fight.
I already had hand surgery.
Recently, I remember I was in a bathroom at the airport recently.
Oh, no.
Seriously. And the old me would have gotten to a fight with a dude. It's like, I'm at the sink, and I swear I think this person either knew who I was or they were just trying to irk me. So, like, I'm by the sink that's by the towel rack. This happened like, I was at JFK too. This happened like a month ago. Like, I was about to two-piece this dude. So I'm literally standing there, and he like all up in my personal space, and he reaching like his hand towards my sink.
Wait, he want to share faucets with you?
But they're this close, yeah. Like,
wait, in the bathroom, the airplane bathrooms, there are dozens of faucets.
That's what I'm saying, fam. So like, there's a sink, there's my sink, and then there's the towel thing. So he halfway got his body in his sink, but halfway got his body in my sink.
Are his hands using the same faucet that your hands are using?
His hands are in his sink, but his body's towards mine.
You out?
Yeah, and I'm kind of close to the thing. So I'm like, to put my chicken wings out, like,
sure.
Kind of gave him a little under the neck action. You know what I'm saying? And he looked, I look. I'm like, you know what? Go ahead, man. Have a good day, dog. I'm about to get on out of here, man. Before I had to leave you here late. And there wasn't nobody around. There's no cameras in the bathroom. For all I know, anything could happen and this dude run out and screaming and I'm in trouble. Or vice versa. Maybe he could have handled me and left me laying in there bloody for 5 minutes when nobody knew I was in there.
I can't believe you would do that to Larry Brown. Jalen, there are reports and there is video that is suggesting that Kevin Durant could return to the Golden State Warriors before the playoffs. How important is that for the long-term success of this season for the Warriors?
I don't like it.
Really?
Nope.
Really?
Nope.
What? So when you see Kevin Durant looking very comfortable and cozy, shooting 20-foot jumpers, you do not like it. When you hear that he's coming back before the playoffs, you do not like it.
I like to see him shooting jumpers and getting ready to play basketball, but I don't like the thought of him coming back before the playoffs start.
Okay, Dr. Rose, explain why.
If you haven't checked, there's something that's happening late in the season where good teams are resting their players.
I have heard.
And bad teams are shutting their players down.
I have also heard.
So that means the last handful of games of the year, when the Golden State Warriors go and play against an opponent,
exhibition.
It's going to be exhibition. And you know what happens for
anybody?
Isn't that
the perfect environment to come back from an injury? Isn't that the perfect environment to come back
for
from an injury?
anybody that plays a lot of basketball There's a difference between playing with guys that know how to maneuver, how to foul, how to let somebody go, versus you going up for a lob and a guy undercuts you. You go up for a jumper and a guy like me sticks his foot underneath you. These are the things that happen, in particular late in the season when you're playing against guys that are late roster additions that are playing for their lives and also may never be in the NBA again. I would not send my MVP, my former MVP player, my leading scorer that has had a couple of injuries to his lower extremities, by the way, out there in those circumstances. I much rather have him training, working out, practice against the best players in the world that are on our team. We got 4 All-Stars on our team. All I got to do is mix these guys up in practice and let them get a real run. I want him to get through the regular season unscathed. And then before the playoffs start, ramp up playing, and then we would see him again when the playoffs start.
So you would not have him take the court before the playoffs?
Unless he was 100,000%
I think
healthy.
he's close. Like, if we look back at this injury, it didn't look that bad. I'm not a doctor, but it didn't look that bad of an injury. He walked off on his own power. It was a sprain.
Hit the brakes. What team are you a diehard fan of in football?
0.
I'm sorry. What team are you a die-easy fan of in football?
New England Patriots.
Okay. You remember when our good friend Tom Brady got injured?
He's your good friend, but yes, of course.
Okay. Do you remember what happened after he got hurt when he stood up?
Yes.
What did he do?
Walked to the locker room.
Okay. After he walked in the locker room, when did he play again?
Next season.
Okay. So he walked to the locker room, he had surgery, and he did not play again. So that's not the measuring stick. I think people seeing Paul Pierce get in the wheelchair kind of diluted everybody's thinking of how somebody should behave with an injury, or Adrian Peterson returning after 8 months diluted how people think athletes should recover. Doug Collins always says this: just because you're a great athlete, that doesn't mean you heal faster. It doesn't. And so you said that it didn't look that bad.
Didn't look that bad.
But did he get surgery?
No.
For a player that had a history of injuries to his lower extremities, he's 6'11", he's really long, he's really athletic. When the player tells me he's ready to go, in that case, that means, okay, I'm going to give you 2 more weeks. Because I can't take the chance of putting Kevin Durant back on the basketball court late in the season when teams are going to the lottery, shutting players down, where contending teams are resting players, and he's out there playing against non-notable NBA competition. How would Steve Kerr look if
Don't say it, Jalen.
something else happened? You can't take the chance.
Nope. Interesting angle on this that's hard for me to disagree with. We have some news, Jalen. Statue update news, Jalen Rose.
Yes.
We are taping this in the Jalen and Jacoby studio that is just yards away from the entrance to the Staples Center. There is a new statue soon to be unveiled at the Staples Center. By now you have seen it. It is Shaquille O'Neal dunking with his legs up. We have seen where it is placed. It is now covered by sort of a garbage bag. I'm going to say that this is the greatest sports statue that I have ever seen. What? Let me make my case. Signature move. We all know what it's going to be. When it's Shaquille O'Neal, we all know what the statue is going to look like. It always helps with the statue. Number 2, placement. He's not the lone statue out there, surrounded by legends. Number 3, do you know what he does? He hangs above all of those legends. He is not a statue that comes out from the ground. It is affixed to the side of the Staples Center, and he is rising above the competition, much like he did during his career on the basketball court. I'm going to say that this is my favorite statue in all of sports.
Is it the best all time or your favorite? Because you said 2 different things.
I can't objectively speak to an opinion of the general populace of our species.
Do you think it's the best? Do you think it's the best?
In my opinion, it is the best statue in all of sports.
And your favorite?
And my favorite, yes. As a senior statue analyst, as someone who cares about statues more than anything in your life except for some human beings and lobster and your hairline.
Yep.
How do you feel about the Shaquille O'Neal statue?
Usually, you have to be an all-time great for your statue to also be a logo. I've seen Shaq's statue, and that imagery is also featured as his logo.
Mm-hmm. Much like Jordan.
In particular, on the side of gym shoes.
The Twism shoes.
Correct. So when you ask the statue expert,
senior statue analyst,
what I personally think is the all-time greatest, I can't only look at the placement on the side of a building.
Oh, don't say it.
I can't only look at...
Oh, don't say
You're
it.
judging by who else is out there. You're trying to say his statue is great because it's hovering over Magic and West and all of those great
Oscar
individuals.
De La Hoya and Chern.
Well, just so you know, Kobe's going to hover over all of them. His is going to actually be the best, but because that won't be a logo. Now, let me get this distinction now. All of the people that have statues, that is not their logo. Shaq is the first person that's actually his logo.
Michael Jordan's.
I'm not finished. That's why Michael Jordan's is the best.
No. See, Michael Jordan's looks like a Hershey bar that's been left in the sun too long.
I know.
It looks like it's melting. It's a bad-looking statue.
I know, but here's the thing. Not only was it an original, it also is a logo. And if you're not standing outside of the Staples Center, because remember,
there's another logo right outside the Staples Center. Jerry West is there with his whack dribbling all in front of him with his legs crossed. Get some balance, Jerry West. I hate the logo of the NBA. Sorry.
You have to be able to look at it other than being in front of the building if you're going to say it's the best.
It's the best.
You have to take it away from that building and put it somewhere else. Okay, so say you put it on the side of a gym shoe.
Yeah.
Say you put it on a piece of paper.
Say you put it on a movie poster and call it Kazam.
There's no logo better than Jumpman.
Nope. I still contend that is a bad logo because he never dunked like that outside of a photo shoot environment. Shaq did his signature dunk in games over and over and over. How many times did Michael Jordan dunk the ball in a game with his legs spread front and back, like he's dancing?
That's what makes it immortal, Jacoby.
I'm sorry. I prefer my things to be authentic, to be organic, and to be based in reality, not in some hypothetical photo shoot environment.
It's not about a salary. It's all about reality.
Thank you.
Jordan's logo's the best.
Do you know what I just decided? Based on this conversation, I am now the senior statue analyst at ESPN. What? You've been demoted, sir. I am your boss. I expect a full report on my desk tomorrow morning regarding your opinion about Michael Jordan's melty chocolate statue.
You're just a Die Easy statue supporter. You won't be caring about this in 5 minutes.
Yeah, you're right.
Get off the bandwagon.
Jalen Rose, if you have a big game, you're going to get interviewed after the game in the NBA. And sometimes you're just not prepared to fully be articulate about your feelings because you just finished playing a basketball game. We have an example of one of those moments from our friend, someone who I respect a lot and I feel bad about laughing at, Shabazz Muhammad.
Definitely, I think it's transition, and we're doing a great job on defense. Wig, myself, everybody, it's a tough team, and especially Kawhi and the guys. So we're doing a really good job, and everybody's collecting the collective bargaining agreement.
Am I a bad person for thinking that it's hilarious? Am I a bad person for listening to that 175 times before we did the show?
Wow.
Play it again, please. I love it so much.
Definitely, I think it's transition, and we're doing a great job on defense. Wig, myself, everybody, it's a tough team, and especially Kawhi and the guys. So we're doing a really good job, and everybody's collecting the collective bargaining agreement.
Everybody's collective bargaining agreement.
You know what that is?
We are so collective bargaining agreemented out right now. That's what we're up to. As a team, we're just collective bargaining agreement. That's what we've all come together. We've collected a bargaining agreement together.
You know who I blame?
Against the Spurs.
You. People like you.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I blame the fans. I blame the media. Because all players wondering now is how can I win and how much I'm going to get paid. The first thing he thinking about is collective bargaining agreement. Like, who got what?
It's like, what? Split?
How much did I have?
Is it 51% for the
How
players? Is it 49% for the players?
He's like, wait a minute.
What is my deal?
Exactly.
Is there a loophole in the collective bargaining agreement with the bird rights?
That's what he was thinking about.
No. I think he was trying to talk about how they have come together as a collective
union.
Yeah, it was a collective unit, and he just got
know.
the word collective, and then bargaining agreement just came after it.
I know it's like a muscle memory thing when
That's
you go
why-
to the doctor and they hit your knee and you get the reflex.
That's why I don't use big words.
As soon as he said collective. But here's what I want to applaud him for. Like, it's my job always not only to pay homage or salute the elite all-star level players in the game because they get enough acclaim. Mm-hmm. What makes the league tick is the guys that find ways to stick around for 10 years. Like, it's tough to do. Especially if you're not an all-star. Especially if you never led a team in points, rebounds, or assists. It's tough to stay 10 years. Here's a player that, while he was in high school, lied about his age.
Allegedly.
So, when he was a senior performing against other people in that class,
Senior in high school or senior citizen?
when he was a senior in high school,
Okay.
he truly should have been a freshman in college. And the reason why I personally bring this up, because I was fortunate enough to play on the number one high school team in the country. I could not imagine the year I had at Michigan as a freshman that I was still playing in high school that season. You know what I mean? I'd have been like, Wilt. It'd have been unfair.
They had statues all over Detroit.
No question.
There would have been a Jalen
I would
statue
have
outside every
statue
gym. Yeah.
of roll games.
There'd be even more Jalen's
You know
out
what
there
I'm
in the
saying?
world.
Right. And so that bugged me. But that wasn't only him. And the reason why I bring that up is because there's a lot of talk about what Alonzo, what LeVar Ball should
Oh, we're
be
not
doing
talking
in the
about LeVar
media.
Ball.
I know. But this is why I bring that up. The student doesn't necessarily lie about their age.
Shabazz Muhammad didn't wake up one morning and say, you know what we should do? Let's pretend that I'm a year younger than I am. It's not, the germ wasn't, like, germinated in his head. Collective bargaining agreement.
Correct. So that was done on his behalf, is what I'm stressing. And so, man, that's a lot to endure and overcome. When people find out that you've been living a lie, you were the number one high school player in the country and you were lying about your age, that elevated him exponentially to the point where he got a scholarship at UCLA. Mm-hmm. He wasn't able to live up to the expectations there because that's when they got exposed.
Yep.
And so now you go to the league and you're a first-round pick.
And he didn't blow up when he got to the league.
And so now you truly become almost on a journey to find staying power within one franchise.
He has.
And so they've changed coaches a couple of times. They've changed over the roster a couple of times. And he continued to grow, continued to get better, continued to find his niche. And all of a sudden, he's a productive rotation player. And I appreciate that. And I also appreciate Ricky Rubio. Because this has happened to me multiple times.
He's part of the collective bargaining agreement.
When a team says, we like you, Ricky, but we're going to draft Chris Dunn to take your spot. And everybody else like, they might as well trade Ricky. Even myself.
Every February, he just opens up his phone and sees a different Photoshop of himself with a different uniform on in a trade proposal.
And you know what Ricky did since All-Star break? Second in the league in assists. He's been balling. Him and Karl Anthony Towns got really nice chemistry. And so, as you bring up Shabazz Muhammad, and yes, it was an idiotic statement, and he got caught up in the moment in his interview.
He was just talking.
He was just blabbering.
He's just talking into microphones. We do the same thing for 2 hours a day.
And the reason why I had to temper it a little bit is because he doesn't get celebrated as much as Karl Anthony Towns.
Oh, he doesn't get celebrated full
or
stop.
Wiggins does.
He doesn't get celebrated full stop.
Correct. And so it's like, after the game, the PR person goes up to the person that they want the media to talk to. And he was like, me? How much did I have?
I've never done this before. How's this work? Do I need
You look up at the big scoreboard, like, how much did I have? And so I will give him a pass for having childlike enthusiasm after having a really good NBA
Will
game.
you give me a pass for laughing at him as passionately as I do?
No, it's hilarious. We got to use that on Countdown.
There's a gentleman named Kevin. He was on the Wheel of Fortune. He is now famous for being on the Wheel of Fortune because he had every single letter that spells out a streetcar named Desire, a Tennessee Williams play, except for the M. Spun the wheel one more time, landed on a 600. Kevin asked for a K. My question for you, would you rather see a play titled A Streetcar Named Desire or A Streetcar Naked Desire?
Oh, got it.
Kevin upgraded Tennessee Williams' play. See, Kevin's getting trolled right now on the internet, and everyone's going after Kevin for being so dumb. Kevin's a genius. Kevin's a genius. Streetcar Naked Desire is a film that I want to see.
I can't defend him. There are only a couple of words that possibly could go there. You could have put nailed. You could have put naked. But, man, there's no way you could get that wrong for the bread.
Can you spell nailed?
Nailled.
That's what I thought. No. Adrian Broner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Adrian Broner uploaded a picture of his feet
At least I know how to spell it.
on Instagram with the caption, "I'm blessed to be in this position in my life, but God finessed me on my feet." Looking at his feet, does it make you feel better about your feet?
No, because I got to live with mine. I don't have to see his every day.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
I learned to focus on moi.
One thing I love about this post is embrace yourself. He didn't wake up in the morning and say, you know what I want to do?
Foot surgery.
Yeah, he said, you know what?
Cosmetic.
Not only do I have these crazy-looking feet, I'm going to take a picture of them and share it with the world just because that's the person that I am.
You know what?
I respect that.
I'm going to do the same thing.
I respect that. I don't think that's a great idea. I really don't. Jalen Rose.
Yes, sir.
While Robin Lopez was throwing punches at Serge Ibaka, Brooke Lopez was throwing punches at the Pistons' playoff chances. A team that is motivated to lose games beat your Pistons in Brooklyn while the Pistons are trying to hold on to the 8th seed in the East. What happened?
They're not motivated to lose games. The Lakers and the Phoenix Suns are because they have lottery picks. The Nets were fleeced by the Celtics.
That's a good point.
So their motivation is to actually play good every night. The problem is they're 14-56.
It's tough.
And watching the Pistons, it truly looked like a team that was in New York City the night before.
Wait. I thought Tom Hibestro told us that players don't drink anymore, they don't party anymore. None of that's a problem. They're just in cryogenic bags in their hotel room just studying film.
Who was quoted in there?
Anonymous former GM, anonymous former All-Star.
So former GM.
George Karl, who will say anything.
Which means that GM got fired.
Sure.
Former NBA All-Star. From what era?
Who knows?
So, I was disappointed watching that game. I thought once Tobias Harris tied up the game and sent it in a situation where it was less than 3 seconds to go, that Detroit would find a way to get a stop and send the game into overtime. Mm-hmm. But the shot that Lopez made shows the talent and the skill
Tough shot.
of players today when you see a 7-footer making a one-leg jump shot to win the game.
Fade away from about 13
And
feet.
his name ain't Dirk.
Yeah.
It was an impressive bucket.
Do you know what wasn't impressive? He really needs to shape up. He really does.
So, let me ask you this. It would be great to have a brother in the league. So now do you think he's going to ride on Serge when he see him for his little brother?
Oh, no, very much the opposite. He said if there was a rematch that he'd be pulling for Serge, which is what I love about the Lopez brothers. The Lopez brothers have really good personalities and they have a really good sense of humor.
No, that ain't a good personality. That's just saying
That's
you
funny.
don't want it.
That's funny, Jalen.
I don't respect
That's
that.
funny. Oh,
I don't
come
respect
on.
that.
What do you want him to do? Oh, you know what? Next time I see Serge, I'm going to blah, blah, blah. Come on, Jalen. You don't want that either.
I do.
Why?
Because that's his brother. I have two brothers. That's what I would hope that, not the rest of the league, but I would hope my other brother. So let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
I'm at home watching League Pass, and the Nets are playing against the Raptors. I bet not see my brother give Serge a pound in the dap.
Yep.
Like, you, so you, where you going to think about this different now?
I think it's funny. I have a brother too, and we like to poke fun at each other. I think it would be really funny if someone got in a fight with my brother and I gave him a big pound and a hug and was like, "Good job." It's not serious, Jalen. You know this isn't serious.
I
Like
know.
you know this violence isn't going to be
wrestling.
like real violence. Like this is
wrestling.
all a game.
It's
And I like
WWF.
that they're embracing the sort of humor in it.
I agree.
You know?
I agree.
I enjoy that.
I agree.
Your man Boogie had 41 points and 17 rebounds in a win over the Grizzlies. It started pretty rocky when he got to New Orleans.
Best game with the team.
Do they keep Boogie on the roster in the
Of course.
offseason? Do they keep Alvin Gentry as the head coach in the
Of course.
offseason? So you think they will just add some shooters, add some pieces, and try to make this thing work with
When you're
Gentry?
trying to trade for a player like Boogie, that all gets factored into the equation. Who's coaching? And so Alvin, just like Monty Williams, who I felt like did a good job while he was in New Orleans, continues to see Anthony Davis flourish. Now it's the job of the organization to actually build a team around him. It don't matter who's standing on the sideline. If you look at their roster, it still has holes in it. So when you're able to add Boogie to go with him, you got to continue to build it out. And for Sacramento, it was all good just a week ago. You remember when they traded Boogie?
Buddy Hield had a couple
And
good games.
they were talking about-
Yeah, Willie Cauley-Stein was getting lobs and dunks.
What's their record?
Oh, right now they are exactly 27 and 43.
The same as your diehard New York Knickerbockers.
They could go on a 12-game win streak and end the season 39 and 43.
Okay, don't hold your breath.
I won't. What do you expect from your Michigan Wolverines tomorrow?
Win. Versus Oregon. This is, I think, where Oregon being without one of their top performers and defenders comes back to be a hindrance, because the further you go in the tournament, that's where your weaknesses get exposed. I really like Dylan Brooks. He can play off the dribble. He can shoot with range. He's clutch. But Michigan has a few players that can thump it when they get hot. So not being a homer, I do think having more firepower, in particular from three-point range, is going to be the difference in the Wolverines' ability to advance.
Jason Tatum has announced that he is available for the draft. Does that surprise you at all?
What has surprised me is if Coach K sits next to him at the press conference. Because that's a visual that he's avoided. Because that's a visual that Calipari's embraced. And so there was a period of time where he said that he wasn't going to recruit the one-and-done type prospect. And he was like, wait a minute, Kyrie Irving want to come play with me?
Oh, wait a second.
Wait a minute.
Oh, okay.
Okafor want to come run with me?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, we got to find a way to do this. We're going to bend the rules a little bit based on what I said. But when you look at the landscape of collegiate basketball, he is not attributed. Duke is not a school that's embraced the visuals of players leaving one and done. When Coach Cal has 7 players leaving for the draft, guess what they're going to do? They're going to all sit at the podium like a basketball team. Like, he going, he going, he going, he going, he going, he going. Get our picture.
3 tables at the draft. He's calling
No doubt
ESPN right
about
now. I need 3 tables. I need 3 tables.
No question
I
about
want to
it.
be right in front.
But Tatum's a terrific ring prospect.
I like Tatum a lot.
Can play off the dribble, can finish at the hoop, long and lanky. I think that he has what it takes to be a really nice pro. I was disappointed in how he played his final collegiate game. I would have thought that when you have the ability to leave after your first year, you also have the ability to lift your team some. And so I can't say that, like many people, in particular those who picked Duke in their bracket, aren't surprised that they didn't at least make it to the Sweet 16. So there are many years, I think 5, that they've won the championship, and I think Coach K is the greatest of this era, the second greatest of all time behind Wooden. But there are also as many years that they've gotten bounced before the Sweet 16.
Steve Kerr said that if they shorten the season, that he would take a smaller salary. Do you feel like the NBA players echo that sentiment?
Not at all. Not at all. I'd rather rest those 7 games and get paid.
If they could double their salary, double the amount of games they play, would they do it?
On paper, we agree to that.
No problem, right?
No problem.
Sure, 164
Sure.
games.
No doubt.
Double
Where do I
everybody's
sign?
salary, year-round season.
And as soon as we
whatever
sign,
it
like,
takes.
hey, man, we
Now
missing.
we're resting.
Hey,
Now we're
man.
resting. I'm resting 40 games
No
this year, just so
question.
everybody
No
knows.
doubt. Let's sign
We
first.
all know that's exactly how
Let's
it would
sign
go.
first. Man, there's some phony dudes in this industry.
There's also a lot of phony stories that people talk about a lot in this industry. So we invented this segment called Keep It Moving, where I bring up a topic that's being bounced around the sports world or pop culture, and we keep it moving, or we hit the brakes and discuss it. Are you ready, Mr. Rose? The NFL is mulling ejections or bans for dangerous hits.
Hit the brakes.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to switch it up on purpose since you read the whole question.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
So, let me get this right. I can make a play on the football that is deemed so malicious that I can now be ejected, which is now taking place in collegiate football as well.
You could be ejected, and then you could be suspended or banned for another game.
I don't like it.
NFL's in trouble. The NFL, at the very core of this sport, there is a problem. There is a just philosophical divide at the core of this sport about what is entertaining about it.
You know what? A light bulb just went off in my head.
What's that?
I
Mr.
know
Rose?
what's wrong with football.
You're fixing football right now?
No, the identity crisis that it's going through.
Uh-oh.
This is exactly what happened with rap music. This is exactly what happened with
I see
rap
where you're
music.
going. Okay.
There was a time where individuals were trying to censor MCs. There was a time where rap was deemed something for the neighborhood. You were not keeping it real if you were mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a tug of war between both of those sides that said, wait a minute, I'm an artist. I want everybody to enjoy my music. Oh, and by the way, that's how I go platinum and double platinum and diamond.
There's credibility.
By multiple audiences
There's
listening
sort
to
of
my music.
street cred, and then there's commercial mainstream success and the trappings that come with it.
Correct.
So there's a fork in the road.
And so what the NFL is juggling is they have the mainstream appeal and they don't want to affect the bottom line. So they're trying to prolong the product as much as possible by doing what they think makes it safe. The problem is the people that are playing the game grew up dreaming about performing, but they were using a whole different set of rules and mentality to finally get there. Mm-hmm. So as a defensive player, your goal was to hit the ball carrier as hard as you could.
Not just that.
Until they were down.
Not just that, you kind of wanted to hurt them.
And dislodge the football too. Mm-hmm. Both. And so when you're asking me at an awkward angle to not hit a player in a certain fashion because I may not only be ejected from the game but possibly kicked out of the league, that's too much to put on one play.
It just feels like, okay, you guys can box, but but you can't power punch. It's like, well, like that. The whole point is to hit the other man in the head. So if I can't power punch, then what are we really doing here?
But the one thing the NFL has going for it is we still doing these meaningless topics, and they don't play a meaningful game until September.
Said keep it moving. Colin Kaepernick gave $50,000 for Meals on Wheels.
Hit the brakes. I'm going to make this one real quick.
Please do.
I have a challenge to everybody who continues to comment about Colin Kaepernick. I'm going to go to every public figure's social media website when I see them have something negative to say about his community outreach. And you know what I'm going to look at? My favorite media members' pages to see, Instagram, Twitter. Who are they giving back to? Do they have a foundation?
Well, one thing I would like to think about is perhaps they're giving back and they have foundations that they're not publicizing on social media.
You don't have to publicize it on social media because a lot of times the people that you're doing a good deed for will probably do it to thank you.
Sure.
You don't have to publicize what you're doing for JRLA because we're going to do it for you.
Sure.
Because we appreciate it. So that works both ways. And while I don't even care about his personal stance towards the flag, because to me, this is America, you do what you choose.
You want. Yeah.
I always applaud those that do philanthropic endeavors because the hardest thing to get somebody to do, because we're a selfish group of individuals out here, to donate their time, their energy, and their money to something that doesn't benefit them.
Carmelo Anthony
Keep it moving.
Sat out
Oh, my
the
bad.
fourth quarter. The latest Knicks game.
Keep it moving. You're going to see a lot more of that the rest of the year.
The United States beat Japan to reach its first ever World Baseball Classic final.
Keep it moving.
Conor McGregor is very close to inking a deal to fight Floyd Mayweather.
Hit the brakes.
No, Jalen.
I'm going to make this quick.
Conor McGregor's entering that LeVar Ball, Johnny Manziel. I'm just kind of tired of this. I'm just tired of every day. The new headline is the same headline from the day before. There is no advancement to this story. Remember, it was an Instagram post, and now, I am boxing, and now I'm very close to inking a deal, and then Dana White says it's going to happen. It's all the same story, just recycled over and over and over again, and yet you want me to hit the brakes.
Only so I can say one thing.
What's that, Mr. Rose? That I'm completely right? We're moving on?
Conor McGregor has as much chance of beating Floyd Mayweather in boxing as I do. It's going to be a great spectacle.
Both southpaws.
It's going to be great theater.
Great facial hair on both you guys.
It's going to be a great press conference.
Great tattoos on both
But
you guys.
when he takes off those striker gloves and he puts on those boxing gloves, oh, man, it's going to be way different. Floyd,
Let me ask you this question. If you are Conor McGregor, does that matter? Like, wouldn't you still fight the fight anyway? I'll go in there and lose for a few $1 million. Like, why not?
Here's the thing.
He's in the business of making his brand bigger is better for him than winning the fight.
What happened in Conor McGregor's last fight?
He won.
What happened in the fight before that?
He lost.
Okay. So, of course, he'll get in there. Floyd 49-0. He's saying this is like cake. This is easy money. He like, who want to fight me?
Let me throw this scenario out there. Not to sort of suggest that perhaps the fighting sports aren't completely on the up and up and everything's above the board and on the table and completely in the open. Let's imagine a world in which people felt like you did. There's no possible way Conor McGregor could beat Floyd Mayweather. And let's imagine that they reflected that not just with their opinions, but also with their money. And let's imagine the bookies in Vegas that were taking in these millions and millions of dollars of money that are wagering on Floyd Mayweather, so much so that the collective bargaining agreement, sorry, Shabazz, the collective groups of Vegas stood to gain hundreds of millions of dollars if Conor McGregor won, that, I don't know, maybe perhaps Conor McGregor lands a lucky punch. And I don't know, maybe he does win. Because I don't know, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars are at stake.
We're the same society that made the Kardashian brand worth $1 billion conglomerate.
Collective bargaining agreement.
All we want to do is to see a train wreck.
You're right.
That's it. When you're driving up the freeway, I'm the person that gets upset when people are just rubbernecking what's going on the other side of the freeway. Like, just drive. Focus on what's happening in your car.
There is nothing interesting about a car accident. There's
Correct.
nothing interesting about a car accident.
No doubt about it.
Unless you're in a position to help, there's nothing interesting about
like,
it.
what do you want to see? Carnage? Like, what do you want to see? Like, what is your goal?
What's the upside?
Correct.
What is the best possible scenario?
So people aren't paying for the fight because they think it's going to be a good one. They're going to pay for the fight because we get caught up in the hype.
I'm into conspiracy theories. I can imagine a world in which Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, their people get together and say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to start wrestling, and we're going to spill out of the ring.
No,
and
Floyd
it's
ain't
not going to be a fight, and
no.
it's going to be disqualified, and it's going to set up another fight for a rematch.
Let me tell you something Floyd Mayweather ain't going to agree to do. Get tackled.
As I'm saying, this is going down a hypothetical highway here, where they understand that there's more money to be made if this doesn't end in a completely dominant destruction of Conor McGregor.
One of these dudes is worth like $750 million. One of these dudes, previous fight, they made $100 million. He ain't playing those games at all. This ain't about to be no Rocky and Clubber Lane, where he get in and all of a sudden he about to be dirty and he gonna give Floyd a rib shot and he's gonna fracture a bone and then all of a sudden Floyd ain't gonna be able to go and Conor's gonna get a surprising win. That ain't happening. Floyd is gonna get his signature knockout against this dude.
Tony Romo is on Instagram negotiating with his children.
Keep it moving.
We be moving, you know, we keep it moving.
The Pacers made an offer for Paul George during the trade deadline.
Keep it moving. He's still on the
We be
roster.
moving, you know, we keep it moving.
The owners may vote for the Raiders to officially move to Las Vegas.
Don't like it. Keep it moving.
We be moving, you know, we keep it moving.
Shabazz Muhammad said collective bargaining agreement.
Keep it moving.
We be moving, you know, we keep it moving.
I hurt my feelings that he didn't want to talk about that more.
The collective bargaining agreement.
As we do every Wednesday, we're celebrating the women in our lives and around the world with a special show.
Hi, Ma. Hi, Grammy. I love you.
And a special voicemail segment. Let's listen to the first female caller.
Hi, Jalen and Jacoby. This is Camille from Chicago. My question is about LeVar Ball. I saw Scoop's interview with the Ball family, heard it on SC Featured, and I was wondering, one question I was expecting Scoop to ask that did not come up was famous families in sports, specifically the Woods and the Williams family. At some point, the childhood star athletes sort of divorced themselves from the coaching and some of the direct sort of mentorship of their parent. And I'm wondering if you think that will happen in the Ball family and how it will sort of impact the story that we are all hearing now about LeVar Ball, their brand, and sort of the relationship between father and sons. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much for the call, Camille. That was a very articulately put, informative question.
Because it's Wednesday.
However, David Jacoby decided that he's not going to talk about LeVar Ball. So this is on you, Jalen.
I'm in a minority with this one.
I'm not talking about it. I'm done with LeVar Ball.
I am.
I'm done.
You might
He's Johnny Manziel, Tony Romo, Tim Tebow territory for me.
You might not be after you hear what I'm about to say.
Don't get fired.
I got an interesting take about LeVar Ball. The most interesting take.
I've never seen you adjust your seat like that.
Don't cut any of this.
And we putting it on wax.
I didn't have a father growing up. I never met him. He's the number one pick in the 1967 NBA draft. And you know what I would have loved for him to be doing? Exactly what LeVar Ball is doing. Let me say that again. You know what I would have loved for him to be doing? Exactly what LeVar Ball is doing. Not any more, not any less. Riding for me. 110%. Making me shoot J's before dinner. Pushing me to be an all-time great. Telling me that Michael Jordan ain't nothing. You gonna be better than him. Telling me Steph Curry ain't nothing. You got this. I would have loved that because that was my personality anyway. Except I had to say it for myself. So instead of me taking the emotional energy to talk about how great I was and build myself up emotionally, then do it, if I had somebody else to do it, oh man, I would have been a much better player.
And it would have helped you to have a father figure like that pushing you.
Yes.
And touting your abilities and whatnot. However, at some point, don't you feel that LeVar Ball is doing this not for his sons, but for LeVar Ball?
No, he's doing it for... Let me tell everybody what he's doing this for. If you can read. He's doing it for Big Baller Brand. That's what he's doing it for. And Lonzo Ball ain't his only kid. For everybody that don't know this, he got two other kids in high school.
LiAngelo and LaMelo.
And one of those kids actually had 93 in a basketball game.
I think it was 92, but sure.
So we don't know if they're going to be as good as his current son. See, we take for granted that all three of his kids is going to turn out like the one at UCLA.
Exactly.
So he should just shut up and fall back.
LaMelo is 4 years away from playing college
He
basketball.
still got to build them up.
Yep.
So, like, we're only taking a snapshot of what he's doing with his older kid, but we're underestimating the fact that he also has two more that he's trying to nurture. And there's a word that came to mind. Go ahead.
Corny?
That I heard.
Collective bargaining agreement?
No. Here's the thing. You have a son in Quincy, right?
Fact.
There will not be, unless it's me, another dude besides you to give him the ultimate confidence. You're going to give him the kind of confidence that makes him feel like he can run through a brick wall. I remember having the kind of confidence because I got it from my Uncle Penmore that made me feel like I was the $6 million man, that I was going to jump off of a fence, get a running start, and jump over a pool. because my uncle made me feel that confident. So it wasn't like I'm Steve Austin. No, I'm the $6 million man. Like, that's truly who I am. And it almost killed me. That irrational confidence. Remember, I'm the person that brought that term to the lexicon because I got that from him. And so what Lonzo Ball's dad is giving him is that. And here's the thing I want everybody else to pay attention to. Have you ever heard his son speak?
Yes.
How often?
Not that much.
Okay. Because his dad doing all the talking for him. We're not even talking about UCLA and what their players saying. He's taking all of the whole distraction off of their team. All we doing is talking about him and interviewing him. He's doing interviews and we ain't even talking to him about the squad. We're talking to him about their brand. And so I see the people that say he should sit back and shut up and fall back and allow his kids to do their thing. But just think about the kids like me who never had a father. Keep it going. Big baller brand.
Corny name. If everyone talks about how brand
now that
conscious,
name is corny.
Everyone talks about how brand conscious he is. Guess what? If you're going to push this brand, this is $1 billion brand. Don't name it Big Baller Brand.
Well, I mean,
that is corny. Every part of it is corny. No one says baller anymore. Big Baller Brand. If a brand is inherent. It's inherent. It's not the Nike brand, the Adidas brand. It is a brand. This is called Jalen and Jacoby, not Jalen and Jacoby, the radio show, television show, podcast for ESPN. It's a corny name. Let's admit it. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Hi, Jalen and Jacoby. This is Trina from D.C., currently in Columbus, Ohio. So I have a question, and I know my boyfriend is tired of me bringing this up, the work antics, but how do you tell a coworker to not talk to you between the hours of clocking in until the hours of clocking out? Love you guys. Bye.
Big shout, Trina. Big up to DC. I want to take this one.
Please do.
Here's how you do that. I wish he would have told us what line of work so I could get a visual.
Exactly. It's different if you work in a factory
y'all in a
versus
cubicle,
an office. Is it a
space,
restaurant?
Yes.
Is it a hospital? There's a lot of different places to work.
All you have to do is act like you so extremely focused.
Headphones in.
So extremely focused.
In.
And I got love for you, but you know what? When I'm at work, it's just so many things going through my mind. Like it's me, not you.
Yeah. It's me, not you. Here's the thing. And I'm going to take the other side of this. You got to pick up on context clues. I'm sure she's dropped a couple hints. If you are constantly the person who is bringing up the conversation with your colleagues, it needs to be a two-way street.
You hope people get the hint, except when you're standing there talking on the phone and people don't care and they come up and talk to you anyway?
Let's do one more question.
Hi, David. Hi, Jalen. It's Michelle from San Antonio. As a lifelong Spurs fan, I am used to the idea of coaches resting players. So if we've all agreed that there's no way we're going to reduce the number of games, that would mean a decrease in revenue for the NBA and its business partners, then, one, what do you think about revising the rules and the salary cap and allowing teams to sign more players, thereby reducing the distribution of minutes? And two, if Kerr and Lou aren't going to get fined, does Pop River deserve a refund? Thanks.
Some good questions. First, do you think expanding the roster will truly reallocate the number of minutes that players play?
It will not, because you're adding 14 through 17, and those aren't the guys that get
Those
healthy
are the D-League
rest.
guys. Those are the D-League guys.
The guys that get here's what I want everybody to understand, and this is why I'm so against it. Rest should be a reward. So if you win the division, if you have 1 or 2 games left and your spot is solidified, I understand. You know what? We don't want to get anybody hurt. We're going to rest the last game or 2. We're going to get ready to go. I think fans would respect that. The problem is when you're resting throughout the journey, but yet we really don't see an end game. You can't tell me resting LeBron James 5 games this year is going to prolong his career 5 years, because it ain't. You can't tell me the medicine and the doctors are telling me it's best for him to sit out when Tristan Thompson just played 400 straight games and they're on the same team. So my theory about it is players have to own the fact that people are paying to watch them perform. Have you ever been to a concert? Have you ever been to a boxing match? They're undercards. Mm-hmm. You're paying a specific price to see those undercards and or the people that aren't on the marquee, but you're paying the big dollars to see the headliner. And so when the headliner isn't there at a concert, at a fight, there's an uproar. That's going to happen in basketball. And I'm going to simplify for everybody. Brook Lopez plays for the Nets.
Beat the Pistons yesterday.
He's their best player that makes the most money on that team in a salary cap driven sport. Forget the Cavs, forget the Warriors, forget the Spurs. He has an obligation to show up and play every night. You mean to tell me you go watch the Nets play and you still can't even see him? You might as well throw the ticket in the garbage.
This sounds like something that they should address in the collective bargaining agreement. Right now, we're going to open up our 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed, take questions from you, our listeners. First question, Jalen Rose, is from Mace T. This is a great question. I'll take this one.
Okay.
Mace says, I'm getting married this weekend. Any advice? All right. Here's my advice, Mace. I'm going to tell you something. It's the same thing with childbirth. Mace, here's the thing. Something is going to go wrong. It is not going to go as planned. You have to be prepared to behave appropriately and adapt when something goes wrong. Because if you have a plan, and it's important to plan and prepare, but you also have to be flexible, dexterous, nimble. You have to be able to evolve with the situation. Something will go wrong during your wedding, and you don't fixate upon that. You advance beyond that.
And I'm going to take a different angle. Don't do anything to mess it up between now and then.
That's a great point.
Like,
great
seriously.
What is this tradition? Like, you know when the bachelor party is like 2 days before the wedding? Who does that? Like, who does that? It took me like a week and a half to get over my bachelor party.
And also, too, bachelor parties are overrated.
Bachelor parties are way overrated.
Yeah. Don't be thinking that you and your boys going to have this elaborate party with people that are adult entertainers, possibly.
Potentially.
Or you're going to go out to one of those levels of establishments, also with members of her family.
Oh, yeah. With that, there's always that future brother-in-law there. The future brother-in-law relationship is very odd.
And you think everything that is said and done will not be repeated.
What stays in Cancun this weekend will never be repeated.
What stays in Vegas stays in Vegas.
No, trust me, guys.
What happens in Vegas
trust
stays
me, guys.
in Vegas.
Richard is cool, guys. Trust me, Richard is cool. No. I know he looks like that, but Richard is cool.
He's counting your drinks. He's paying attention to who you're talking to.
Yeah, Richard
texting,
doesn't care about you.
Play-by-play.
You think Richard cares about you more than his sister?
Way.
You think that Richard doesn't want you to succeed?
Nope.
Next question is from Childish Poetry, who writes this very often. Shout out to him.
That's a dope name.
Jalen, is life better without cursing?
Yes.
Good question. Why?
It expands my vocabulary.
Good point.
I work in the media. It stops me from actually swearing on television or in a position where it could come back to haunt me.
You still find other ways to say things you shouldn't say without cursing.
Also, not cursing allows me to pay attention to those that curse a lot. It's almost like when you stop drinking and you're around people, you're like, they act way different once they start drinking. Like, wow.
Yeah. Drunk people are so annoying when you're sober.
And the other thing, and the most important thing, it allows me to realize how much I hate when people are upset at me or they're at odds with me or we're debating about something and they curse at me. It went from me wanting to kick it and talk back to me not liking it to wanting to punch them.
That escalated quickly.
They cursed at me.
I'll keep that in mind. James had this. Someone made custom JaVale McGee toilet paper. Is this funny or foul? I have more details on this because I read the entire internet every day. You remember once upon a time, JaVale McGee made Draymond Green sleeping blankets? Do you remember those?
I
He
did.
handed out to all his teammates. And again, if you can be mean if you're funny, I thought that was funny. Any joke that takes like a month of preparation and like a bunch of emails and all that is, I'm 100% on. So Draymond Green has responded in kind by having toilet paper with his face printed on it, and it is strategically placed throughout the Warriors facility in the facility of the facility. Collective bargaining agreement. Fair or foul?
JaVale started it fair.
I think so too. Funny or mean?
Funny.
Here's my problem. I'd be worried about the quality of the toilet paper. I think it's cool if his face is on it. It's kind of funny. But at the end of the day, I want some high-functioning toilet paper. Let's move on.
So.
No, let's move on. No follow-up questions on that one, J-Ro. Nope, we're getting out of the bathroom. Next question we have is from Tyler. As somebody that hates running, what's some advice to help me start running on a regular basis?
Oh, you come to the right place. We got Mr. Marathon Champion right here.
In case you didn't listen yesterday, I won the Los Angeles Marathon
this
weekend. I won the Los Angeles Marathon. I conquered the Los Angeles Marathon.
You beat Oprah.
I beat Oprah. There was 24,800 something people. I was first.
You raised like $14,000 for JRLA?
$14 million for the Jalen Marathon.
No question.
I finished in an hour and 21 minutes. Broke a record. That's what the story's going to be in about 6 years. Just
no question.
Right now. Well, Tyler, I'm going counterintuitive on this. If you hate running, don't run.
You know what I mean? To run.
If
Keeps
you
your
hate
heart
running,
rate up.
don't run. Find something else that gets your heart. Swim. You know what I mean? Walk. If you hate to run, don't make that your exercise of choice. You know what I mean? Because I enjoy running. I enjoy the meditative state that I get into when I run. I don't listen to music or podcasts all the time when I run. Sometimes I use it as a meditation, a morning meditation. And my body, it suits my body well. It works for me. It's something that works for me. I do not hate it. Well, you know one thing I don't like to do? Swim. I'm not the dude that can do laps in a pool. You know what? I don't do it. So Tyler, if you hate running, don't run. But if you do want to run, just get some good music. This is great from Guwap, who also writes us a lot. Shout to him. Jalen, this is for you.
Okay.
Why is it frowned upon for a man to be a stay-at-home dad? Can I just answer with 2 words?
It isn't.
Societal ignorance would be the only thing I can think of.
And also, too, we've created this cocoon around men that we should walk around like supermen and never show our emotions or don't have feelings.
Yeah.
And that's not accurate.
It's just not.
Each family dynamic is different. And what true love in a partnership is both of us are going to do what it takes to make our union better and stronger and more effective.
And we're rooting for each other. One thing, another sort of like societal stereotype that may be rooted in reality for a minority of human beings is that there are men in the world that are uncomfortable if their significant other makes more money than them. That is insane to me. That's absolutely insane. If you were to ask me right now, would you like it if your wife made X million dollars? Like, yes, of course.
The contrarian, and I agree with you, by the way.
I mean, of course you do.
Would say, maybe if she made more money than you, she wouldn't be your wife.
Yes, she would. I'm hilarious. I'm a really good hang. Like, if we sit down and watch Vanderpump Rules, like, she enjoys my commentary.
But you might not be if she made more bread.
Oh, I would be hilarious. I'd be funnier.
I would love, and support a significant other making way more money than me.
Of course.
That would be great.
Next question is for Heston. Which movie did you guys like better in the 90s? Above the Rim, Sunset Park, or White Man Can't Jump?
Above the Rim.
White
Got
Man
Tupac
Can't Jump.
in it.
I'm going White Man Can't
Come
Jump
on,
for
man.
obvious reasons. For obvious reasons, I'm going White Man Can't Jump. Poor Sunset Park. First of all, shout to Sunset Park for just giving in the conversation. You know, Carla from Cheers is in that. Good for Sunset Park.
Yep.
Which basketball?
Is Carla from Cheers in Sunset Park?
Yep.
Whose basketball was better? Just the actual playing.
Oh, Above the Rim. Woody Harrelson can't play ball. They're like, we got Woody Harrelson? Oh, great. This is going to be great. It's going to be a hit. He's a great
They're
actor.
like, who gonna hoop?
Yeah, when they filmed the first basketball scene, they're like, okay, we got to shoot this. We got to get artsy. We got to get real artsy with this one. Next question that we have is from Shabazz Muhammad. It just says collective bargaining agreement.
The collective bargaining agreement.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening on ESPN Radio, for watching on ESPN2 and ESPN News, and subscribing.
Thank you
to the Jalen and Jacoby podcast.
You're far too kind.